Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to unpack a market that might seem pretty niche, maybe just a corner of the tech world. But trust me, it's way bigger than you might think. Just think about your own gaming setup.
That's
It's,
right.
it's not just the game itself, right? It's the sound in your headset, maybe the click of your mouse, that controller feedback, or just how sharp your monitor looks. We're talking about that whole universe of gaming accessories. And yeah, the huge booming industry behind how we all play. So our mission today, basically, to give you a quick, clear picture of this global gaming accessories market, we're digging into official data, forecasts from Cognitive Market Research. It covers 2021 right through to 2033. And look, this isn't just going to be dry numbers. We want to uncover some surprising trends, get a handle on these global shifts, and hopefully give you a few of those aha moments, make you feel like you really get it. Okay, so to kick us off, here's a bit of wow fact for you. Back in 2021, this market, it was already valued at around $5.5 billion.
Yeah, a billion with a B. But here's the really remarkable part. It's projected to more than double by 2033. We're talking soaring past $11.3 billion. That works out to a steady global growth rate, the CAGR, of about 6.3% year over year on average. Think about that consistent, powerful growth for over a decade. Okay, let's really unpack this. A market set to double. What I find fascinating isn't just that big number, but the different stories kind of hidden in the regional data worldwide.
That's exactly right. And if you connect this to the bigger picture, it's not just, a simple upward line because more people are gaming. It really reflects how gaming's gone mainstream. Think about esports becoming professional, the explosion in mobile gaming, and just, a global shift in how people spend their money, leaning more into digital entertainment. So that sustained growth, climbing from roughly $5.5 billion in 21, hitting nearly $7 billion by 2025, and then that massive $11.4 billion projection for 2033, it really shows the market's fundamental strength. But like you said, what's truly insightful is seeing how this growth looks so different depending on the continent. It reveals really diverse consumer appetites and economic situations.
And that's what makes this deep dive so compelling, right? Let's walk you through some of those major regional shares from 2021 and their growth rates, because you'll quickly see this pattern emerge, sort of mature markets versus these emerging powerhouses. So Asia Pacific, they were the biggest player in 2021, right? Nearly $2 billion. And they're projected to grow at a solid 6.1% CAGR.
Still very strong.
Very strong. Then Europe, not too far behind, about $1.3 billion, and actually a very similar growth rate, also 6.1%. North America was just over $1 billion, growing slightly faster at around 6.2%.
Okay.
But here's where it gets kind of interesting. The Middle East, smaller starting point, maybe $560 million in 2021, but a higher growth rate over 7%.
Ooh, notable.
Yeah. And Africa, starting even smaller, about $370 million, but it actually clocked the highest regional CGR of the lot, nearly 7.4%.
Wow.
Finally, South America, around $300 million, growing at 6.2%. So you see that already, right? North America, Europe, huge markets now. But some of the fastest growth, the real momentum, it's actually happening elsewhere.
That observation is spot on. It really sets the stage perfectly because North America and Europe, they have these established economies, mature tech markets. They show what we'd call steady, mature growth. It suggests, consistent demand. Their growth is probably more about people upgrading gear, maybe getting more specialized peripherals, plus just a solid, reliable consumer base. But even within these big regions, the numbers tell some more nuanced stories.
Exactly. Let's dive into those mature market numbers because, there are fascinating details. North America, we said just over $1 billion in 2021, set to hit over $2.1 billion by 2033. That's the 6.2% CAGR overall. Now, the U.S., predictably, is the biggest slice of that pie, almost $650 million in 2021, growing at a solid but slightly lower 5.8% rate.
Right, makes sense.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Canada seems to have more momentum. Started smaller, just over $200 million in 21, but is projected to reach over $460 million by 2033. That's a significantly higher growth rate, 7%.
7%, okay. That is higher momentum.
And Mexico's steady, too. Around $180 million, going up to $390 million. That's about a 6.3% CAGR. So, even within North America, growth isn't uniform. Okay, shifting over to Europe. About $1.3 billion in 2021, growing to over $2.5 billion by 2033. Overall rate, 6.1%. Germany stands out as a key market, definitely. Started over $400 million, projected to hit around $780 million. But its growth rate is a bit lower, 5.6%. Stable,
Very stable, yeah.
The UK, though, stronger performance, solid 6.9% growth rate, going from over $220 million up to more than $500 million by 2033.
Okay, nearly 7% there, too.
But check this out. Here's a really surprising detail from the data. The category called the rest of Europe, so all those smaller markets, often overlooked, just lumped together,
Yeah.
they registered the highest growth rate in the whole region, a massive 10.3%.
Get out, really?
Yeah, this group went from just over $50 million in 2021 to a projected $160 million by 2033. So you might think the biggest economies drive the fastest growth, but nope. We're seeing these unexpected stars pop up, even in mature markets. It shows these pockets of really high demand.
That surge in the rest of Europe is fascinating. It really highlights how, local economic boosts or maybe specific cultural trends can just ignite demand in smaller places. It could be anything, right? Rising tech hubs, maybe in Eastern Europe, better broadband making online gaming take off, or maybe specific national esports leagues getting big. These things create dynamic, high-growth spots, even in established areas.
Yeah.
Shows how granular this data can get.
And thinking about that, what specific kinds of accessories do you reckon are driving that higher momentum we saw in Canada versus the U.S.? Any thoughts?
That's a really good question. The data doesn't break it down by type of accessory specifically, but you could speculate, right? In a market like Canada, strong tech adoption, big gaming culture, maybe you're seeing a surge in high-end PC peripherals.
Specialized stuff.
Yeah, or maybe faster adoption of new consoles and people buying the premium accessories that go with them. It suggests users are looking for that extra edge, or more immersion, perhaps.
Makes sense. It points to a sophisticated user base. Indeed. Okay, now let's pivot. Let's talk about where the real acceleration seems to be happening, the dynamic expansion into what we're calling the emerging economies. These places are showing a really notable acceleration, much higher growth rates, paints a vivid picture of the future.
And this acceleration, it's clearly linked to big demographic and tech shifts. We're talking about huge young populations, rapidly increasing internet access, especially mobile internet, that's key, and a growing middle class, right, with more disposable income. And they're choosing to spend it on entertainment like gaming. This isn't just about buying one controller anymore. It's about whole gaming communities and cultures taking root.
Absolutely. So let's start with Asia Pacific, already the largest market in 21, nearly $1.9 billion, projected to hit almost $3.9 billion by 2033. Now, within that huge region, Japan actually led in 2021 just under $600 million, but its growth rate is a bit lower, 5.2%.
So growing, but slower.
Right, China, huge contributor. Started around $380 million, projected to reach nearly $800 million by 2033. That's a strong 6.4% CAGR. But the sources specifically flag India as one of the fastest growing markets. Really impressive 6.9% growth rate, jumping from about $120 million in 21 to an estimated $275 million in 33.
And these really taken off them.
Seems like it. And we also see big growth elsewhere, like Southeast Asia, nearly doubling from about $195 million to $410 million over that period. Okay, then we look at the Middle East, showing, quote, rapid growth and overall TGR over 7%, expanding from about $560 million in 21 to a pretty substantial $1.28 billion by 2033.
That's more than double, too.
It is, and the strongest performers, clearly the UAE highest growth at 7.6% and Saudi Arabia right behind at 7.5%. Qatar's also showing really strong expansion.
They're really investing in digital, aren't they?
Seems that way. They're leaning into digital entertainment hard. And then Africa. We mentioned earlier, highest regional growth rate across the entire market, almost 7.4%, growing from about $370 million in 2021 to a projected $970 million, nearly $1 billion by 2033.
Incredible potential there.
Huge. And leading the charge within Africa, South Africa, with an amazing 8.1% CAGR, and Nigeria close behind with 7.9% growth.
Wow, 8% growth.
These numbers just scream potential, right? Much of it probably still untapped. And finally, let's not forget South America. Its overall growth is solid, 6.2%, going from about $290 million to nearly $600 million by 2033. But Brazil is highlighted as a key driver there. It's got a 6.5% growth rate, set to grow from about $60 million to $125 million.
Okay, so putting it all together, this really raises a big question, doesn't it? What does this tell us about where the future of gaming is truly taking hold? These faster growth rates in Asia Pacific, the Middle East, Africa, they're not just numbers on a page. They hint that these regions might be kind of leapfrogging older tech trends, maybe going straight to mobile-first gaming. which comes with its own set of accessories, specialized mobile controllers, foam cooling grips, maybe portable screens, things like that. And that represents just incredible economic potential for businesses, for innovators who are looking to expand or, tailor their products locally. It's a clear signal of shifts in global market power within the whole gaming industry.
So true. So, what does this all mean for you listening in, whether you're a gamer yourself, a tech fan, or just curious about global trends? It means this universe of possibilities is just expanding rapidly. The global gaming accessories market isn't just growing, it's evolving dynamically. We see that strong, steady global growth overall, yes. But underneath that, there's this significant, really fascinating shift, notable acceleration in emerging economies, Asia, the Middle East, Africa. While the more established places, North America and Europe, they keep up their steady, mature growth, but even they have these surprising pockets of high momentum we talked about.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating to me is while we see these clear growth patterns, these impressive numbers, the underlying reasons, the cultural factors, the societal shifts causing such explosive demand in certain places, well, that's still wide open for exploration. Like, how might local tastes in Nigeria or India actually shape future accessory design? You know?
Hmm.
Could we see totally new gaming trends emerge from these fast-growing markets that then influence the rest of the world? It's just a reminder that market data, while it's crucial, it often hides these deeper human stories and tons of untapped potential.
Absolutely. A great point to end on. So, as you think about all this, maybe consider what new kinds of gaming accessories could we see? Or even entirely new ways of playing, born out of these rapidly expanding markets over the next decade or so. The future of gaming. It clearly isn't just about the games themselves, it's about how we interact with them all over the world and the clever tools that make that experience better.